This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Want to chime into what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard in the Bradshaw and Bryan text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's 10 to me. Mark Rosen here as well. So, the Twins fired Rocco Baldelli a couple of days ago, and now everyone is weighing in on who did they think they should hire. LaVelle Neal III, esteemed columnist, Fish Wrap Factory West Side, had 5 names he threw out there. Bobby Nightingale, who is a beat writer for the Twins for the Fish Wrap Factory in the West Side, had a list of, I think it was almost like 8, 9, 10 guys on there. I recognized a number of the names, others I didn't. And then I know it does matter, but then again, does it really matter? Because they're probably not going to raise the payroll. They got a lot of young guys. It's, I don't know. Well, what are your thoughts on the whole?
We've seen teams fire managers for all sorts of reasons, even after winning seasons. I mean, Paul Molitor, I think you guys talked about it a little bit earlier, manager of the year. I think, everyone recognizes the Hall of Famer, and especially since Paul had such an intimate knowledge of the Twins minor league system and the players that were there, because he was down there. He kind of grew up with Byron Buxton, watched Byron Buxton grow up and all these other guys. He knew the organization ins and outs of the pros and cons, and yet, they still wanted their guy. So they brought in, Paul got, fired, and they brought in Rocco. Well, that's their prerogative. The difference between situations that we often see in Major League Baseball where managers get fired, you go, wow, why did they fire that guy? They had a really good record this year, whatever it might be. And this one is exactly what you said. I throw those names in a hat. They're probably all qualified their own way to be manager of a Major League Baseball team.
Some of them have been.
Yeah, right. What difference does it make? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but it deserves a straight answer. Because, as we've talked about, when that person goes into Falvey and Joe Polad's offices when the day he gets hired and they have that news conference over at Target Field, the questions will be there from all the baseball reporters. What kind of promises did you get, or what kind of assurances did you get from management that you're going to try to improve this baseball team? Or basically, should you just be in St. Paul managing their AA team? And because their roster doesn't really make a big difference, maybe 3-4 guys, there's not a lot of differences between what's going on in St. Paul and what the Twins are putting out there every day. So who wouldn't want to be a major league manager? Obviously, you're going to get a nice boost in pay, maybe get a 3-year contract. You got to have some sort of idea that you're going to be, at least got some financial security. But then the rest of it's kind of out of your hands. I mean, you can manage all you want. You can try to massage the bullpen. You can, look at all your analytics and do all that sort of stuff. But we've seen that over and over again. I mean, Rocco was manager of the year, and it didn't, he had his faults. There's no doubt about it. But I think overall, everyone understands the landscape of what we're dealing with right now over there at Target Field.
There's some Kathy Engelbert character.
No, the WNBA commissioner. Yeah, she's not long to be the WNBA
everybody's
commissioner.
Piling on her.
Oh, are they ever?
But, are they right?
Yeah, I think. Put it this way: in
the case of the Lynx, it sounds like sour apples to me.
Well, there's a couple different things to comment. I think that the one comment that Nafisa Collier made the other day when she was relaying the conversation she had with Engelbert was Engelbart, whatever her name is, when discussing, why Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and the other players aren't making more money their first 4 years. She goes, well, if it wasn't for our platform, Caitlin Clark would be making $16 million a year. Yeah. That's about as foolish a statement as I've ever heard in sports. But Caitlin Clark was making that kind of money coming out of college. I mean, she's obviously been able to capitalize on and get even more endorsements, but it's a legitimate question from Nafisa, and I'm not even suggesting that everything she is saying, Nafisa, is correct as far as where they're getting the money. The TV money is getting better, but they're trying to get a new collective bargaining agreement, et cetera, et cetera. But all the players are kind of, not just the players, I think coaches, and not just Cheryl, others are kind of going, she seems to be over her skis a little bit here for lots of reasons, and I'm you can circle back to what happened with the situation with officiating and what happened to Cheryl. And, there's a lot of different ways to dissect that have nothing to do with the commissioner. But, I mean, even the optics last year, I know it's silly, but the fact that she had a New York Liberty dress on after the, wearing to the championship game between the Liberty and the Lynx, it's just bad. It's just, what are you doing? So I don't know. I think there's just, you can tell Nafisa Collier has the respect of the entire league, the players, and in particular, when she speaks, and she spoke for a long time the other day, I think it had a rippling effect, and I think it's probably going to potentially, among other reasons, probably cost Kathy her job. She'll probably just step down.
Who are the candidates to replace her? Do you know?
I have no idea.
What do you mean you don't have any idea?
I would say
you're the league. You love the WNBA.
I wouldn't have any idea who would want that job.
A lot of people would want it.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. I mean, it's but I do think they're having, they're going to have, they're going to smack into, I mean, listen, it was just last year or two when a lot of the teams were able to get charter flights. They were flying commercial for a long time. There's a lot of other things, and it takes time, and I understand that. They're not going to get paid like NBA players. They don't generate that kind of income. They've definitely, because of the name recognition, not just of Caitlin, and unfortunately, Caitlin got hurt a long time ago and is not part of the finals. And that hurts, because every time she played, she filled the arenas. And, and Nafisa's right. She filled the pocketbooks of all the owners and all the other people they certainly made a lot of money off of her. So, they're at kind of the crossroads of trying to, figuring out the new direction that they have to go with everything with the league, officials included. So, because they do have, and it's going to continue because I think more people are paying attention. There's more recognition. Juju Watkins, and I think she's sitting out this year. Your name recognition, honestly, sometimes in women's college basketball is more than men. I'd be hard pressed sometimes to even go, because nobody sticks around past a year.
Yeah.
So when you look at the rosters of the teams that are coming back, and go, well, what do these teams have? And going, well, I don't know where any of these people are. They're all pretty much one and done, the good ones. And we saw that again this year.
This is a story, Dateline London, where the NFL is entrenched for a couple of weeks. It says the National Football League plans to launch women's and men's professional flag football leagues in the next couple of years. Roger Goodell said that earlier today.
Right.
The timeline outlined by Raj at a sports conference in London would see the leagues created ahead of the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, which will feature flag football for the first time. Here's what Goodell said. We're committed to creating a women's professional league and a men's professional flag league. We've had a great deal of interest in that, and I expect that we'll be able to do that. Then it says the league prioritizes flag football as a way to attract young fans, both male and female. Mm-hmm. Goodell said, the demand is there. We're seeing colleges in the States and universities internationally also that want to make it part of their program. If you set up that structure up where there's youth leagues going into high school, into college, and then professional, I think you can develop a system of scale. That's an important infrastructure that we need to create. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of well, go ahead.
No, I'm saying the Vikings are heavily involved in this. I'm going to say even, the women's in particular, but even, will NFL players be eligible? You talked about for 2028. Justin Jefferson has said, man, that sounds like fun. I'd like to participate in that. So will teams allow their players, even though it's flag football, you're still, in theory, taking a risk, and they have to sign off on it. I'm sure there's all sorts of ramifications, but I think you'll find, especially the specialists, the wide receivers, the guys, the quarterbacks, let's have some fun. Let's go win a gold medal. I know it's a very, very big international thing. They had, earlier this year, the Israeli flag football team was here. I hosted an event at the Vikings Museum when the team was here, and it was pretty interesting because they do compete against other teams internationally, and so that what's happening with flag football is something to keep an eye on for both men and women.
Well, I've got something controversial to say.
Oh, okay,
on the other side
that's
of the
interesting.
Break. Yeah, it's going to be controversial.
Right.
And I'm I suppose I'm going to be in the minority, and I'm going to be a wet blanket, but I'll bring it up on the other side of the break. 10 to B, I assume you have a national cash contest keyword.
You assume correct. The Fan and 2 men and a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword dollar at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is dollar. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Pass Common Man program on Common. He is Tim B. Mark Rosen here as well. Flag football. And I understand that there is interest in people wanting to play flag football. It opens some doors for women to participate in football rather than the tackle version. And I guess there's men that want to play it. My question would be, does anybody really want to watch? I mean, I wouldn't watch a flag football game if they were playing it in my backyard. It's just, we have so many sports as it is. Right. We've got NBA and WNBA and NHL, and then what is it? WNA? What is the?
Well, the women have their own professional hockey league.
What is it? But what is the? I know they do.
PWH. I can't remember.
PWHL. You have Major League Baseball. You have cornhole. You have bowling. You have
all the soccer leagues.
You have so much. It's like, do I really need to fill my? Well, I mean, they've tried to do a summer league for. Has that ever succeeded? Has a summer
like the USFL type things?
I don't know if it's ever
not to the extent of being mainstream, or even they've had TV contracts too that have existed.
Answer me honestly.
Yes.
If there was a professional flag football team, the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Motor City Kitties at Allianz Field on July 4th, would you go? You wouldn't go to that game? No,
I would not.
I wouldn't. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I just don't where the interest from a spectator standpoint lies.
You bring up a valid point. I don't know what the pockets. They've had plenty of these games, and I assume they've drawn well in certain places. Even like I said, it's an international game now. And I think from a participation standpoint, it'd be a blast. You're not going to get hurt. You're not going to likely suffer a concussion.
Probably not.
Be in the injury report the following week, like we have, just an absolute
hammies
avalanche.
Like
you could do that.
Twist knees.
But the idea that I brought up Justin Jefferson's name because I think he did express interest in it. I don't know how serious he was about it, but how will the teams react? Whether you're Justin Jefferson or you're any of the wide receivers in the game, Jamar Chase or these guys going to want to play. And sometimes, you see it with other sports. I mean, it's my one opportunity to maybe represent my country and try to go win a gold medal. And even the best of the best in pro sports, we've seen that with other sports. I'm not going to get a gold medal for the NFL, so I may as well try to do it in something else. And they probably have fun doing it. You see it kind of in I think the Pro Bowl type of games. You see it, right? And I think that's kind of replaced it when they have instead of having an actual game now, they were smart enough to realize no one wants to watch that. Although they do. The ratings are still pretty good for that.
Well, what I don't understand is who comes up with the ideas of what should be Olympic sports and what shouldn't. For instance, the reason I asked the question
committees.
The reason I asked the question is because and I do this every Summer Olympics. Every 4 years I do the bit. And I think people think I'm joking, but I'm really not. I mean, would I rather watch badminton or would I rather watch the three-legged race?
Table tennis.
No.
I know what you mean.
So you have the three-legged race where you have two people running in a race, and then you put the ace athletic manager, and it's a three-legged race. That's stuff you used to do when you were a kid.
Right.
The wheelbarrow race, where you have somebody on their hands, and another guy runs behind him holding his ankles, as if it's a wheelbarrow race. Pogo stick. Why aren't
I get your point?
But a sack race that I used that I won the blue ribbon. I know I'm doing this partly tongue in cheek, but. To me, I would rather, or do you remember chicken fights where I would get up on your shoulders.
I
Cole
remember
would get
those.
up on Meatsaw's shoulders, and the two of you would go at each other, and the first person to knock the first team to knock the other team down would win. I would much rather watch that than badminton. I mean, it's like or flag football. Flag football is a watered down, a non-contact version of football. Yeah. Who cares? So we see another great catch, another great run, another great pass. I see that on Sundays all the time. I'd rather see more non-conventional, those games we used to. Red Rover said Rosie right over. I'd rather, seriously,
my favorite. I loved it.
Capture the flag. Yeah. I would much rather watch those as Olympic events.
Hat. Maybe the Olympic Committee.
Won't. No, they won't. It's too silly.
But it's your point's well taken. You expanded. I mean, I would have never imagined. Of course, there wasn't anything years ago. Think about the idea that someone said, we're going to one time during the Winter Olympics, we're going to have this thing called snowboarding.
Yeah.
And even though it's a recreational sport for many people. I mean, my son, who's about to turn 40, when he first started skiing, and he's a good skier. I don't think even snowboarding was available at that time. And now all of a sudden, of course, it's a huge Olympic sport, and the tricks and all the stuff they do, and they have all the X Games, and they have their own competition. But I don't know where you draw the line. I mean, there's all sorts of sports sometimes that get out there, and you go, whoa, what is this? And then you get ones that the professionals want to participate in as well. So I don't know how to answer, other than the fact that I know internationally flag football, and for women and girls in particular, is getting bigger all the time. How that's going to translate to the Olympics from a spectator standpoint, I couldn't begin to answer your question. I have no idea.
A couple of text messages come in. This one says, with the world of streaming we live in, it's a lot easier for these leagues to be accessible. People will watch if they have the ability to find it, which is easier than ever. Well, that might be the case, but what I'm saying, who's interested in watching flag football? I just think it's just. Well, I don't. I mean, again, maybe you like football so much you like every version of it. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. But here's another one. This one says, hold on. Where did it go? It was here. They come in at breakneck speeds. This one says, I'd rather watch an hour-long show about running a jackhammer on 494. The fascination with athletes is getting to be too much. Regular people doing fascinating things every day. You can hit it right at the gut on one every time, and I can.
You can.
But I see what he's saying is that they're inventing sports and creating new sports. There's this insatiable appetite for competition out there.
There is.
But for some of it is like, I'm serious. I would rather watch. I don't want to eliminate the 100-meter dash or 100-yard dash, whatever they call it in the Olympics. But I'd also like to see the 100-meter pogo stick. Think about it. You're on your pogo stick, you're bouncing up and down like this, and all of a sudden, and then there's the gun, and boom, and then you pogo stick. You'd have collisions, people going off course. And what's to say that being able to bounce on a pogo stick,
is it more athletic?
100 meters, is more athletic than somebody just running as fast as they can? Well, we're happy for them.
Yeah, I think when we watch these sort of out-of-the-box events during the Olympics that no one would ever watch if it was not during the Olympics. I mean, I think of one that comes to mind is steeplechase. I mean, and the riders are tremendously gifted, and I'm sure, but it's like, I'm not quite sure I want to watch that, but there's always events, but at the same time, if they're going to add flag football, are they going to eliminate? Are they just adding it? Are they going to eliminate another event or two, or do they go, we've kind of run its course. We're going to move on from that into flag football and to pogo sticks. I don't know, but it is.
This is just some American idea to get us another medal.
Yeah.
Because we'll dominate flag football, let's be honest.
I mean, Tim, you were out of the room. Did you hear the pogo? Wouldn't you like to watch the 100
full contact pogo stick is what I would want to watch.
Well, I mean, think about it. You would have the 8 lanes or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden the gun would go off. They'd all be bouncing in place, right? Then the gun goes off, they go. And there would be collisions because you're trying to stay in your lane. It would.
How many times in a race, like the guy who's leading is going to win with pogo stick? He might fall. Something could happen.
That's exactly right.
Like there's drama until the very end.
And I get it.
You should start a professional pogo stick.
And I get it. The pogo stick does all the work. I get that, but still, I'd much rather watch that than flag football.
Well,
but that's
we'll find out.
You know what? I don't understand why people watch it. Cycling. You ever watch like a Tour de France? Like it's a huge event. And it's on television. I'm like, it's the same thing over and over.
For a lot of Olympic events, you just kind of shake your head.
I would rather watch those Tour de Francers on big wheels. Try to control those going down those steep hills,
that'd be a
mountains
skill
in the Pyrenees. We'll come back, one more segment to go. Let's give away that other pair of tickets. You've been waiting for it. Get ready to laugh your face off. Just a couple of pickpockets. It's the Petty Theft Tour with Common and Meat Sauce. It's set to take over. We're going to take over. Max is on the green.
My
and
ribs are
Spicer,
hurting.
October 11th, a week from Saturday. You can get your tickets today at eventbrite.com or be a part of the heist right now. 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326.
Steal a pair of tickets right now.
Yes, you'll win a pair of tickets to see Flop, Sweat, and Tears and Spicer at Max's on the Green. Back with one more segment after this here on The Fan. Couple 13-14 pastime common. He's 10 to be. Mark Rosen here. Mark Rosen's last appearance of the week, and mine as well. I'm headed to Golftoberfest up in Grandview. Yes, Camp Richard. Hundreds of golfers will converge on the Brainerd Lakes area. We're playing golf, hitting knockdown, punch, cut, fade draws. We'll have a concert in pig roast, tailgate party we call it. I think we'll go outdoors again. Last year we were indoors. It's funny. Last year's Golftoberfest, I was wearing long underwear. On Friday, Saturday, on Friday. Well, you know how it is in Minnesota.
Well,
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it will be mid to upper 80s.
Well, it's also Twin City Marathon weekend.
Yeah,
that's not the ideal weather.
Right.
We've already. Was that just a couple of years ago when they had to cancel it? I don't hear anyone saying that this time, but it's still not the ideal conditions for a marathon.
So I will be in Brainerd at Camp Richard. We thank the folks at Grandview for working with us for all these years. We do appreciate that. The 10 of Fitzgerald will set sail at 12 noon tomorrow. There are currently 8 vacancies in Major League Baseball for the manager's chair. That could change by the time the playoffs
There
are
are
over.
8 right now?
There are 8 right now openings. Associated Press has ranked them in order of most attractive. Which managerial rankings?
I don't even know
attractive?
what jobs are open right now.
I thought baseball was your sport.
No, well, I'm watching the playoffs. You got 3 elimination games today, but I don't pay a whole lot of attention to what manager.
There are 8 managerial openings, and
probably all not real good baseball teams. Otherwise, they would be playing right now.
There are 8 managerial openings, and of those, they rank them in order of most attractive to least.
The Angels in there?
Which one do you think is the least attractive?
The Twins.
No, it's not.
Really?
It's the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, that makes sense.
It says the good expectation should be low, and Denver can be lovely in the summer.
Yeah.
The bad, the Rockies didn't set the record for losses this year, but make no mistake, they were one of the worst teams ever, posting a run differential that was the worst in modern history. They have only 2 top 100 prospects, according to MLB Pipeline, and neither has reached AAA yet. Despite plenty of fan support and no competing big league teams nearby, the Rockies have never really built a sustained winner. Then it's your Angels club. They are at number 7.
Angels. Okay.
Says the good. It's a team that's been willing to spend in the past that hasn't necessarily worked out.
Pujols, Trout,
Witness the Anthony Rendon contract, but it suggests under the right circumstances, money won't be an obstacle. And as bad as things have been recently, they did improve 9 games this year. The bad, no team has gone longer without a postseason berth than the Angels, who were generally mediocre when they had Trout and Ohtani, and now have only Trout, who hasn't been an MVP threat in a while. This franchise has been a revolving door of managers since Mike Scioscia's departure. And then finally is the Twins at 6. Says the good, the AL Central is a forgiving spot. Nobody in the division has won more than 93 games since the Twins themselves won 101 in 2019. A market like Minnesota can compete with Detroit, Kansas City, and Cleveland. And the Twins coming off a deadline sell-off, this should be a relatively low-pressure situation initially. The bad, like the Nationals, Twins ownership flirted with a sale before deciding against it. The team cut payroll after winning the division in 2023, with their regional television revenue taking a hit after the Diamond Sports Group bankruptcy. So that pretty much sums it up. It's then Washington at 5, Giants at 4, Baltimore at 3, Rangers at 2, and they say the Braves is probably the most attractive of all of them.
And they've been in a drought for a while. Yeah.
But again, as we did talk about, and Tenneby and I did, maybe you were part of this conversation. I just wasn't listening. I was waiting for my turn to talk. But there will be no shortage of people that want the job. I mean, there's 30 of them in sports, if you're a guy that's got a really good reputation, you've had success, you've been manager of the year before, whatever, and you're looking for work, you might be able to pick and choose a little bit. Even then, it's hard to, because there's 8 openings, and I would suppose the names that are most talked about are guys that do have pretty good resumes. They'll probably get the first offers more. You don't know. A lot of teams like to start fresh. Why don't we try somebody else instead of just doing? We see it happen in the NBA all the time, in the NHL, in the NFL, where the same guys get recycled over and over again. With the Twins, we talked about this earlier. Your guess is as good as mine. Is I don't know. Would they do a Toby Gardenhire? Would they do a guy that's currently on the club? Would they go out and try to get one of those high-profile guys? I don't think the high-profile guy, like those Bruce Bochy kind of guys, is going to be it. But I have no idea who it's going to be.
I don't think anyone does. And again, it's the expectations of that manager. I mean, the manager, whoever they name, is not going to have people rushing to the box office. That's obviously not going to happen. And I think listen, of course it's an attractive job, because you're going to get a nice paycheck, number one, and you get an opportunity to elevate whatever. If you were hitting coach, pitching coach, assistant, whatever you were doing, analytics guy, and you become a big league manager for the Minnesota Twins, that's a nice promotion. But it depends on, you can say, I'm just going to take the job because I get to be a big league manager. Or do you have to sit down with Falvey and go, look, I really want to win. I know you guys have on paper, the second best farm system in baseball. And I know you got some really good young players, but how are we going to develop them? How are we going to complement these players with veterans? As we watch the playoffs continue today and all these elimination games, and you look at, again, you mentioned the division. You look at the Tigers and the Guardians and those two teams. How are we going to be able to get to the point where we can compete against those two teams? We did it 2 years ago. I mean, we were right there. We won a series, and then you guys decided to pull the rug out from under us. Forget, the likes of the Red Sox or the Yankees at the moment, but just competing in your own division, and that certainly is a doable thing. They just said that. It's not they don't have a LA Dodgers team in the American League Central. It's just not there. So, I mean, by making a few moves, you can absolutely get yourself back in the conversation. I just don't think anyone trusts that the Twins are going to do that this offseason.
We did a spread swing earlier.
Yes, we did.
In one of your games you took the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings over the Cleveland Browns, so I'm assuming you believe they will win. Why do you think... we know the situation with both teams. The Browns are starting a rookie quarterback, a highly regarded rookie quarterback, but a quarterback that's never played a single snap in a regular season National Football League game. It's a team they've got a really good defense offensively. They're very challenged. Vikings, we all know the stories there. We have injuries on the defense and we have injuries on the offense. McCarthy's not going to play. Wentz is going to play. To me, it's a difficult game to handicap. But why do you like the Vikings?
Well, I think what the point I was trying to make in a very quick fashion is that I think the fact that KOC's had the entire week this week to kind of ramp up. There's nothing worse than you have in-game injuries, especially in an area where you're thin to begin with. So, you look at the starting lineup for the offensive line. And thankfully, Darisaw is back. Again, he's been back. And you have Fries, but O'Neill's out, and the rest, they're missing some key people. There's no doubt. Donovan Jackson's not ready to come back till after the bye. But I think because he's had these guys to work with all week, and they can now really scheme about, this is what we have to do. The quick rhythm passes, whatever it might be, they got to get the ball to, obviously, to Jefferson, let him do his thing. But I think they've had this extra week and to prepare for a Cleveland team that they should be. I'm not saying they're going to put up 35 points unless you get some defensive touchdowns again by Isaiah Rodgers. But I think they're good enough to rattle Gabriel and to make life miserable for him. I think the biggest thing is,
but with the Vikings offensive line decimated, and the Browns are very good defensively.
Well, they are, but they're not. It's not like you're going up against the Steel Curtain. I mean, they're good, but I don't think they're they're not. But I think the biggest thing for the Vikings, and we've seen it time and time, they have got to get off to a good start. This team is so different. Like a lot of teams can. The Vikings came back, but. They've got to, whether they take the opening kickoff, getting an early lead is paramount, because if they can get a lead of even like up to 10 points, 7 to 10 points, and put that kind of pressure on a rookie quarterback, who's limited in what they can do offensively, I think then Flores can really unleash hell on their offense. But by all appearances, if they end up getting in the mud with them, we're going to have
Cashman's out, Gink's out.
I'm aware of that.
We're not at full strength
they have
either.
been out. They've been out. But otherwise, you're going to get in the mud with that team, and you're going to end up with a 13-10 game. I think it's up to them to take the lead, put some pressure on them, and then you force the turnovers, and then you have an opportunity to do some things. But I think the difference truly is going to be, and people will be talking about the same thing when J.J. McCarthy comes back, likely against the Eagles. What chance are you going to give the Vikings to win that game? Well, I can see the Eagles defense, licking their chops, going after a guy who really hasn't played very much this year, coming off an injury. How can you not favor the Super Bowl champs in that game as much as they've been struggling and still being 4-0? So I just think the Vikings are sitting. They've been sitting over in Europe. They've been stewing about this. I'd be very surprised they don't, and understanding that just how important this game is when you look at their schedule. And KOC is not going to go, well, we got the Eagles, we got the Raiders, we got the Chargers, and we got the Lions. We better win this game. Well, they know they have to win this game, and that's all that matters at the moment.
You're getting ripped.
Okay.
Please bring this up. Rosen just said the Braves have been in a drought for a while. They've been in the playoffs the last 6 years. They won the World Series in 2021, and they won 104 games 2 years ago. That's not much of a slump.
No, I guess it isn't. I was thinking I forgot they won the World Series when?
Well, they were in the World Series in 2020. I thought they won it too. I think they may have won it as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think of Atlanta's always falling short lately. That's all. My apologies.
Here's another. Browns can run the ball with their rookie running back. They will score 7 to 14 points. Vikings offense needs to produce a couple of tutties. Do you think they can produce a couple of tutties against this Browns?
Can the Vikings offense?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. I think it's why it's paramount for them to get an early lead, because then I think you got to put Dylan in those. Third and long situations. I'm Dylan. Third and long situations. Put him in a position where he's going to be uncomfortable, and the Vikings can tee off on him a little bit. That's what they do best, even without Van Ginkel. That they have enough personnel to overcome that. Every team's got dealing with crap right now. Pretty much injury wise. So
Packers have a bye this week.
Yes,
They're coming off a 40-40 draw with the Dallas Cowboys. After that performance defensively, they couldn't stop Dallas. Has your opinion changed? I'm not even sure what your opinion on Green Bay was. After the way Green Bay started the season, they pretty much dominated a Detroit team. And again, it was first game of the season, but they did. We've seen what Detroit's done since then.
Right.
Detroit's offense has been lights out ever since. Then they beat a Jaden Daniels-led Washington Commanders team, and then they picked up who did they beat in Game 3? Packers. Didn't they win Game 3 and then lost the first one? Or are they 2-2 now?
Packers
they're
2-1-1.
They're 2-1-1. That's a tie. Yeah. Who did they?
They beat Washington and they beat
Detroit.
And
then who did
they lost to Cleveland.
They had the upset loss to Cleveland. Then they give up 40 here. I thought Green Bay after the first couple of weeks was certainly, certainly they look like a playoff team, if not better. Has your opinion, was
not
it that
really,
way, and has it changed at all?
I try not to get too cemented in my opinions about any particular NFL team in the first month of the season. I always look at it like when the baseball playoffs are over, that's when you can start really kind of forming all the opinions about the team you're following. I mean, the Packers come out of the bye and they host Cincinnati next week. It looks right now, without Joe Burrow playing for 3 months, that the Bengals are going to be fodder for pretty much any really good football team. Green Bay's coming off a bye and a disappointing tie. they're not going to lose it at Lambeau Field to the Cincinnati Bengals. And so, that's they'll be bounced back and they'll get healthy. I'm looking at their schedule. Then they go to Arizona the following week, which could be a little bit, more difficult. But, they can score. They got a very good football team, and they're going to be there, I think, right with the Lions and hopefully the Vikings at the end. But that's a ways away. No, they're still awfully good. That was a really different type of game. Dallas is a totally different team at home, and we've seen that. And Dak Prescott was really good, and they're missing CeeDee Lamb, and they still put up 40 on Green Bay. So I'm sure it's a little concerning, but again, they're going to get healthy. They got the bye week. They come home and they play Cincinnati.
Did they provide the rest of the league with a template to how to score on Green Bay?
It's easier said than done. I mean, you look at film all the time. They go, yeah, we can exploit that, and then the game starts and everything changes. Depends on how the turnovers, field position. I mean, the Vikings, KOC's talked about it. Jordan Mason has to be the key guy for the Vikings. You can't put Carson Wentz, I don't care what, especially against, Myles Garrett and that defense, in 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 8. You just can't do that and expect to win the football game. That line will get buried then. Get the running game going, put up some points early, and put the pressure on the young quarterback from Cleveland.
Would you trade Anthony Edwards for Victor Wembanyama?
No.
What?
No. I mean, Victor's phenomenal, but I think Anthony Edwards is. I really do. I mean, I'm not downgrading what Wembanyama can do, but I think that Anthony Edwards has got MVP written all over him too. I think that
I don't disagree with Rosie. You got your mouth all down to the floor right now.
It's a discussion point, but I mean,
Anthony Edwards' position in the modern NBA is more important. Those guys take over games more than a center can.
Yeah. Would you trade Anthony Edwards?
I wouldn't trade him for anybody. Pretty much. I don't know unless you're going to come up with Joker.
Would you trade him for Joker?
Well, how old's Joker right now?
Would you trade him for Joker?
For this year?
No. What about the guy? Well, I'd take Joker. Yeah. What about the guy in OKC?
SGA.
Would you trade him for SGA?
I mean, you can make that argument. Of course, he's an MVP.
You said nobody.
I know. I was exaggerating a little bit, but Joker? I'm just saying that in the next 6-7 years,
did we just say Joker? I'm talking about
Doncic
for this year. Doncic?
I'd take Ant over Doncic.
I would. I think in his position.
Have you been following the Doncic story? Apparently, he's built like Kenny Norton.
But he weighs the same as Kenny Norton.
No, they said that.
Have you seen Anthony Edwards this year? Have you seen what his physique looks like? I mean,
but he's always had a physique.
No, but he's been a little soft.
No.
Yeah, he has.
Soft?
He's 23. I mean, in his body type.
Okay.
No, I just think Ant wants it so badly.
Well, don't you think so? The other guys do too?
Of course they do, but you're asking me would I trade Anthony Edwards for Wembanyama? No. Because I think he's in a more dominant position to do things.
Wembanyama might go down as one of the greatest big men to ever play the game.
He might be. But he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done it yet. Now, he's got a world of potential.
Well, Ant hasn't done it yet.
Well, he's gotten to Western Conference Finals twice. So, I mean, and I think he's 23, 24 years old?
Okay.
No.
Just asking.
Right.
I hate when I agree with Rosie.
I know.
I'd rather get him going.
You can do that. You been watching something on the tube that got your interest or what? To spark that conversation?
They were just doing
water cooler stuff.
They're doing all sorts of. They weren't doing trades, but they were just going through all the best players in the league. And I saw some of the names, and I saw Wemby and the things that Wemby's done. No player in history has had like 200 block shots.
Well, he's an amazing talent.
It was like 200 block shots, and I don't know. It was the number of 3-pointers made in block shots. No one's matched that number in the history of the National Basketball. That means he can play inside, outside, uptown, downtown. He changes the way, and Ant does too. But I
just look at a guy that I think has the potential to win multiple MVPs down the road here. That's all, and he's going to be competing against the likes of SGA and others, and Wemby. But I just think he's a special talent.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I don't think that trade wasn't going to happen anyways. Would
you trade Anthony Edwards if he guaranteed an NBA championship?
Yes. I would trade any player if I was guaranteed.
If I was guaranteed an NBA championship, 100%.
Well, but LaVelle.
I don't know if I would. I think with Ant, you're going to have multiple kicks at the can.
Well, that's what I'm. Well, Yeah, one. Yeah, you're right. Well, let's hope so. They're running it back. We have plenty of time to discuss this.
Okay, Gorg. No, I mean, Lavelle. Because Lavelle said that he would not, if I could have guaranteed him.
Yeah, I know
World
you
Series,
said that.
Would he trade Royce Lewis?
That one's not aging well.
Yeah. Tenneby says he would not trade Anthony Edwards if he could be guaranteed one world championship.
Yeah.
A franchise that's never had one.
And
Never.
finally, I know we're going to sign off here. Meanwhile, the Gophers are trying to win their first game at Ohio State since the year 2000. We were talking to
That's not going to happen.
talking to Grimm about that. Ron Johnson, our guy Ron Johnson, was on that team and had a big day in Columbus. I think they're 21, 22-point underdogs. No, I just hope Drake Lindsay stays upright.
And then your guy, Jim Marshall, passed that first step in the senior.
I did not hear that.
Yeah, both him and Chuck Foreman did.
Oh,
because you have not rested.
I haven't.
That's what you said. You said you would not rest until Jim Marshall got into the Hall of Fame. What have you done lately for him to get him into the Hall? You need to go. You need to start a letter writing campaign. Talk about it on your podcast. Let's get Jim in the Hall of Fame.
Trust me, I've talked about it with everybody I know that's involved in any of that stuff.
Very good. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Have a great weekend at Grandview, right?
Yeah, I'll be at Grandview for Golftoberfest. Tenneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
Tenneby, thank you. You too. Tenneby will be he'll be captaining the Tenna Fitzgerald from noon until 3. They're going to play Program Password. He's got plenty of guests.
Lots of fun.
Be a lot of fun. I'll be back with you on Monday at 12 noon. But stick around. Big Ticket, JG, they're next right here on The Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Well done, young man.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.